Hey guys, Tom from Hobbit Gaming Group back again with another What I Think About. This is going to be a continuation of the pricing discussion. I've done Games Workshop for beginners and for experienced players. We're now going to have a look at Forgeworld, which is quite fitting because I'm going to be preparing this Mark III iron armour ready for washing. Just let me check the cameras here. Lovely. My phone going off. Forgeworld, very expensive indeed. I said last video it was twice as expensive as Games Workshop, which makes building an army out of all Forgeworld products pretty inviable for most people, actually, unless you're willing to invest a lot of time and a lot of money. And the time there comes from the time you'd have to save up for the various products, because you cannot, you just can't buy an army outright unless you've got an obscene amount of money and you do something very very well paid. I'm a teacher at the moment and I'm 2 scales higher than I should be because of the children I work with, and still I wouldn't be able to afford a whole Forgeworld army straight out the block. I bought enough for 500 points this month, and I'm probably not going to be able to buy it a lot more for a long time. So whole Forgeworld army is out of the question. I think £7 a model, and a 2,000 point army might have something like 50 or so models in it at £7 each. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but that is £350, not including tanks or anything like that, which is an awful lot of money to spend on, let's face it, some toy soldiers. Yes, they are a bit more detailed, and yes, they are a bit better than Games Workshop, depending on what you want, but it's an awful lot of money. However, Forge will get away with charging a lot of money for 2 reasons, I think. Number one, people just have this thing about Forgeworld, and if it's Forgeworld, especially the children in the club, the younger children anyway, if it's Forgeworld, it must be brilliant. And if it's Forgeworld, it must be absolutely spectacular. And they also have this obsession with resin as well, because Games Workshop didn't used to do resin, and that was Forgeworld's thing. So you're paying a lot for the brand, granted, but that's not entirely the case, because if you look at some of the smaller companies who use resin, their models are actually very similarly priced to Forgeworld's. I'm talking Anvil Industries. Yes, they are a bit cheaper than Forgeworld, but not by a lot. So buying a Forgeworld army is completely out of the question, but that's not what the majority of people use Forgeworld for, in my opinion. Forgeworld historically is for big things, or specialist tanks, or specialist troops, or characters that you only need 1 or 2 of in a whole army. So historically, I think people would buy a Forgeworld piece or 2 when they'd already got maybe 2,000, 3,000 points worth of stuff. Something like a big tank, possibly, or a character, something like that. And when you get up to that level of collecting, it's not really that expensive, because yes, the fell glaives, I think they are fell glaives, look absolutely spectacular in my opinion, or any of the fell tanks really, and they are very expensive, and people are very quick to point that out, but actually you've got to remember you only need 1 of them for a whole army. Very few armies would have more than 1 fell something or another. Well, that's what I think about the Forgeworld bits there. I also said I'd talk about bits, just bits from any company, Chapter House Studios, Dark Art Miniatures, Anvil Industry, Max Mini, all those bits that make your guys a little bit more special. And they're really expensive also, and people are very quick to point that out, because what did I pay for some of my cloaks? I think they were £1 each, my cloaks. which is a lot of money to put on a model. A whole pound just for a cloak is quite frankly ridiculous. However, again, you only need a few. You're not going to have a whole army of people with cloaks unless you really want it. You're only going to have it for your characters, and even if you did it for sergeants also, the amount of characters in a army, less than 10 possibly, unless you're Imperial Guard, something like that, but 10 or less in a 2,000 point army, I'd say. But yeah, so it's not that expensive, the bits either, and it all comes down to the conclusion of the first video. If you are willing to pay for it, if you really want it, you're going to buy it no matter what the price. You're going to buy it today, or you're going to buy it when you've saved up a little bit, but in the end, you will buy it. So please stop complaining. Consider yourself told off, people of YouTube, for complaining about Games Workshop and Forgeworld prices, despite the fact that you are going to keep paying them. Those people who actually stop because they object to the pricing, stop collecting and stop playing, you can complain all you want because you've got reason to. But all these people who keep going, oh, I've spent this amount of money for X amount of models, and next month I've got to buy this also. You're not planning on stopping. Please stop complaining, because nothing's going to happen with the pricing. It's going to go up. Up, 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 up. Thanks for watching, guys. I know that's probably not a very popular view, but I think it makes sense. The if you want it, you're going to buy it train of thought. Please comment your own ideas and your own experiences with the pricing, and also comment any topics you'd like to hear my thoughts on. I will be honest about anything at all to do with the hobby, obviously. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.